All right, going through the preamble again. Welcome to the Referee Assistance Clinic. And my name is Mark Lindal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a screen here and we'll go through some slides, some presentations. But for everybody that is here, you are more than welcome. And the one thing I want to say off the start is what a great turnout here for this event. It just shows that there are a number of keen people that like to help out and volunteer. I know many of you have sons or daughters that are playing volleyball for various clubs around the province, and that's just excellent. In order for us as major referees and for your sons or daughters and the coaches, it's very valuable if we have trained scorekeepers. In fact, Volleyball BC, Volleyball Canada does require that each team in a club event provide I say certified, but let's call them trained scorekeepers and trained line judges. And some of the referees up island have already pointed out that there's already been some club events. And, you know, we appreciate any parent that is in there trying to do the score sheet. And we know that everybody's new and learning. And it is a challenge for a referee if before a match, now we have to do the course ahead of time. So hopefully after the end of this presentation, this will raise the knowledge and you will be able to take some of the things that you picked up today and share them with others on your team, whether they be your sons and daughters, maybe you want to teach them, or maybe you want to provide that to another parent that wasn't here. Okay, let's get going with this button right here. And then what I need to go is back to Zoom. And then I need to hit my share screen here. Let's see if I can do this right. Microsoft PowerPoint, and we will share the screen. There we go. Now, if you are not seeing Volleyball Canada Referee Development Referee Assistance course, somebody type in the chat room that it's messed up. Otherwise, we're going to get going through this presentation really quickly. I have a number of slides, and I should have made somebody the co-host here so they could admit people that are wanting to come in. So let me just go here. Oh, screen is black. Oh, you know why? Screen is black. Thank you for letting me know that. Yeah, your screen is paused. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, and I see Bobby here. Just hang on. I know this is all recording, and of course, everybody afterwards. Nancy, I'm making you co-host, and for admitting people in, and I see Bobby Vu is on here as well. And where is Bobby Vu? I'll make you a co-host as well. And if you can help let people in, that would be really wonderful. Thank you. Now, why did that not work? Okay, then we go back to Zoom. Then I'm going to try sharing the screen again. And then I'm going to share Microsoft PowerPoint. I'm going to hit share. And it says screen is paused. Okay, any ideas on why that's not working? You know what? We're going to have to do this, unfortunately,
Mark, somebody's put in the chat a question. Do you have two monitors? And another suggestion is try turning your video off. It could be a bandwidth issue.
Yeah, no, it's the two monitor thing. I've worked it before, but sometimes if Zoom doesn't play nicely, then it just messes up. So I apologize, everybody. Just 1 second here. Let me just. There we go. Okay. If I go to this and I go, let's share this screen here. Yeah, unfortunately. Okay, now there you go. Now people can see the volleyball referee development course. Unfortunately, it's not as good as the other one, but let's go through it. That's what a volleyball game looks like. And you can see the referee assistants at the score table and in the line judge position, nice and ready for a game. All right, so the participant introductions. Basically, my name is Mark Lindal. As I said, I'm a level 4 volleyball referee. I've been doing this for a long time. Many of you I've met in the gym. I've coached, I've played, and most often I referee. My position is that I'm the Vancouver Island Volleyball Referee Chair. Along with us tonight, Nancy and Cripps and Bobby Vu are both level 3 referees. They referee Camosun College matches and are mentor referees, and we welcome them as well. I see that we have many people here from many different clubs. I see from Kamloops, from Port Hardy, and all the various sites on the island. As I said in the beginning, the Parksville Volleyball Club requested this, and I like that we have the number of people here. I'm going to keep moving through this fairly quickly. So basically what we want to do is we'll go through some of the facilities, the equipment. I will give you a brief overview of the referee corps and what's important in running a volleyball match. We'll go over some of the playing formats. We will write a score sheet and we will show you how to line judge, but this will give you a basic overview. If you've been involved with volleyball, a lot of this stuff you will probably understand, but the one thing I do find is that by going to a clinic like this, you pick up some things and you will, hopefully the knowledge of the game and why we do the things we do will increase as we go through this. Okay. So the facilities and the equipment, that's the most important start, is that when you walk into a gym, if you're a referee or a coach or otherwise, we want a nice, safe facility that is a fun environment that allows a competition to take place. So you get the net, the post, the side bands, and the antenna, and you can see a little picture of how the volleyball court should look at an ultimate game there, University of Alberta. So you got the different areas there, the playing court. There's an area called the free zone. And again, I go through this quickly. This is a lot of things that we take from the level 1 course. The level 1 course is a 5 to 6 hour course. And we will, in 2 hours, just give you a brief synopsis and cover off the major duties of the referee assistants. And so the free zone is supposed to be 3 meters wide on all sides. You've played a lot of high school and club volleyball. That doesn't always happen, but we want things as safe as possible. And if you are ever in a gym and you are helping it set up, make sure it's free from obstruction. You need to make sure that there is playing space above. Obviously, get the basketball hoops and other things as far out of the way. As it says, a minimum 7 meters in height, free of all obstructions. How often do we get to see that? And there are lines on the court that are 5 centimeters wide. Don't worry, there isn't an exam, but if you were in a level 1 course, that is an exam question. There are 2 sidelines, 2 end lines, and they identify the area of the court. You've got the front zone. You have the substitution zone. You've got a service zone, a libero replacement zone, a warm-up area, and a penalty area. And again, I'm going through this very quickly with the idea that that perhaps at some time later, when you want to delve into this and become a level 1, you'll know that these are important distinctions. As a referee assistant, this is kind of the way we roll. We identify these areas specifically. So that's what a volleyball court looks like right there, as you can see. And I'm just going to open up the chat room so I can watch what's going on. Yeah, there you go. Can you make the presentation full screen? It should be full screen already, right? Yeah. Somebody was saying that. So hopefully it is full screen. If not, you can make it full screen on your side. It's full screen on my little monitor here. Okay, so that's what the volleyball court looks like, and you can see in minute detail. Like I said, if you're watching this on a phone, it's going to be difficult. But on there's a scores table. The team benches should be back of the 3-meter line. You have a substitution zone between the 3-meter line and the net. That will be important for you as a scorekeeper to know that. The back zone, front zone, not so much important. And then there's a warm-up area that is beyond the benches and outside of the free zone. And this is available for download on the Volleyball Canada website. You can actually download the rule book. And here's a little closer idea at the line, showing you the dimensions of the lines. Okay. And this is an important thing to make a distinction, particularly if you're going to be scorekeeping, is that there are a number of different rules. And this is something that, Bobby, Nancy, and myself, whenever we go into a gym, we've got all these different rules. Like, on the weekend, we were doing the Pac West, the college match, and they have a different set of rules than the Volleyball Canada U18. And then U16 has different rules. And then U15 and U14 have different rules. And then, of course, not to mention, for any of you that are doing middle school right now, we've got the triple ball, or the middle school grade 8, or there's high school boys or high school girls, and a number of different rules that we have to have at the top of our head. And we're only refereeing in Canada. There's some referees that actually go to the United States, and they've got another set of rules that we all have to sort of learn and understand. For you as parents or coaches, you need to know what the net heights are. So if you're ever in there helping set up a net, and you are doing U14, basically for middle school, that would be your grade 8 and below. The female height is 2 meters and 15 centimeters. The male height is 2 meters and 20 centimeters. That's measured in the center. And then on the outside, because you allow the net to kind of tether a bit and droop in the middle, as we say, you're allowed an extra 2 centimeters higher on the outside. So it should be 215 in the center, 220. Then you go to U15, and that's 220. And that's basically your grade 9s, and 235 for male. Then you go to U16 club. U16 club is 224, which is that's your Olympic height net, and 235 for the men. Notice that the men still at U16 allow a little bit lower height. And then you get to the standardized height for anything above that, U18, Olympics, college, is 224 for female and 243 for male. Now, the only thing to note on that is if you are doing high school, junior high, grade 10, volleyball, the high school sports have allowed it to be 220 for grade 10 as opposed to the Volleyball Canada rules. Okay, so that's the net heights. Now, in a gym, you need sidebands and antennas. That's important. Whatever gym you are in needs to have a sideband and an antenna. If you are ever In a gym that doesn't have that, politely remind them that these are important things. They're not nice to haves or additional extras. These are mandatory. As I pointed out at one gym, imagine playing a basketball game and nobody has a 3-point line out there, or you've decided that you're going to play without sidelines, or maybe you're going to play without a backboard in basketball. It's something that you can't do. So you need side bands. You need to fasten them. They're considered part of the net. Okay, now we'll go over that. There's the design there. This will be important when we're looking at as line judges later. The antennas are on the left and the right hand side over top of the outside of the line, and they are imagined to go all the way to the roof. Now, just to give you an overview of the referee crew, there's your referee crew there. Look at that. We got on the right, you've got a referee, you've got an R2, 4 line judges, and then you see at the back there a referee assistant, who's the assistant scorekeeper, and then a referee assistant scorekeeper. All right, so you've got 5 or 8 people: referee, second referee, scorekeeper, assistant scorekeeper, and line judges. The first referee carries out all the functions and they direct the match from start to finish. I go over this quickly. The first referee needs to inspect the court. They do the coin toss and they control the warm-up. Second referee is outside the playing court. Again, at U14 and club, quite often we don't have an R2, and the R1 has to do everything. But having a second referee is a very valuable thing, and we often encourage, perhaps parents or players to learn how to be an R2, even as a practical experience. It helps out, and it does give them some experience. So again, the job of the R2 is assist the referee, control the scorers, basically make sure the score sheet is correct, and work on controlling the members of the benches, and they are the ones that authorize the regular game, or authorize and control the regular game interruptions. Okay, the scorekeeper is seated at the scorers table, and they register all the data. That's going to be you guys. And you obtain, the scorekeeper does this, obtain the signatures of the captains and the coaches. And that's why we are very grateful to have trained scorekeepers that act as referees assistants. As you can imagine, in a club tournament, if Bobby, Nancy, or I are refereeing, we've got a lot of things to do. And if we have a scorekeeper that can help us get the score sheet prepared and ready, that makes our life a lot easier, particularly if we have to do 6 matches in a row. That often happens. Okay, so during the match, the scorekeeper records the points. That is the most important thing of scorekeeping, is to keep the score right and to follow along. You're going to control the serving order. You are the ones that can determine whether it's number 6 or number 15 that is supposed to be the next server. You can acknowledge and announce requests for player substitutions, a buzzer spelt wrong, and you can control the number and record the substitutions, and you inform the second referee. So at a college match, scorekeepers buzz. We don't have buzzers in club volleyball, but in a single court operation, buzzers are a nice thing to know how to use. Okay. And during the match, the scorekeeper announces to the referee the ends of the set and the 8th point. Let's say we fall asleep and we forget that in the deciding set, they've hit 8 points and they need to change sides. Well, thank you, scorekeeper. Wake us up and let us know that it's 8 points. It's been a long day. We're tired. We forgot. That's why we count on you. The other thing the scorekeeper does is you will record misconduct warnings. That's yellow cards, red cards, and improper requests. Again, I'm going through this quickly. There's a number of things that we will hopefully answer as we go along. And if there's any other event that the second referee asks you to write on a score sheet, you write it down. somebody was bleeding, there's an exceptional sub, there's a concussion protocol, maybe there's not a spot for an improper request, and the second referee says, write down improper request team A. Yeah, you have no idea what improper request is at this point, but just write it down. Match started late because of something, or there was water on the court because of a leaking roof. And also the scorekeeper, if they have the clock, then they control the interval between sets, time 3 minutes. Officially, we have to do that most of the time. Okay, at the end of the match, the scorekeeper records the final result. Again, as much as possible, you guys need to be on top of this by making sure the score is correct, that the right team is awarded the win. You then sign the score sheet and you obtain the signature from the team captains. Okay. Or in the case of club volleyball, I think everybody here is club volleyball. So in club volleyball, U18 and below, it's the coach that signs. So if you know the coach's name, and maybe there's one from each club there, just grab your coach and make sure they sign before they go greet their teams. Okay, and protests at club volleyball are dealt with on the spot, but if there's anything to do with a protest, then it's usually written down. But at club volleyball, protests are dealt with at the moment of the protest. And the assistant scorekeeper, this is a really important thing. I noticed this at club events. There's always a race between the two parents to see who can jump in and grab the assistant score position to flip cards, because they haven't done a score sheet. They're a bit nervous. They don't want to be in an uncomfortable position, and they like to flip cards. But the assistant scorekeeper is very, very important and helpful. They not only do they flip the cards, it says prepares a score sheet and prepares a reserve score sheet. Well, we're not going to worry about that. You're going to flip the cards, but most importantly, the assistant scorekeeper talks to the head scorekeeper, calls out number 7 is serving. It's 7-9, 15 being replaced by number 10. And in a substitution situation. And then that makes it a lot easier for the main scorekeeper just to concentrate on getting the correct information written on the score sheet. And then in the case of, that might be the wrong server, can work together with the head scorekeeper to make sure that we have everything correct. If it's the wrong scorekeeper, the wrong server, then that can be identified. And by working together, you can do that. Okay, and again, that's all libero stuff that will be important for anybody working national college championships, etc. there. At the end of the match, if an assistant scorekeeper can sign the sheet, if there's space for it on the sheet. And then the line judges, we have 1 to 2, and they control the respective lines. And the line judge is balls in, balls out. And we're going to go through this in detail. Balls out on your side, touched by a receiving ball. It touches the antenna, and the serve ball or the third hit hits the antenna outside of the crossing space. And any player except the server steps outside of the playing court at the moment of the service hit. Question that was asked is, how old does a child have to be an R2? I know if they're mature and they're 11 or 12 years old and they want to start scorekeeping, line judging, we would welcome them in there. Officially, we usually say 13 to 14 just because of maturity. But if somebody grew up in a gym, and they've been around volleyball and they've been sitting on the bench helping the coach, then we can 14's a guideline. And then if a person is mature enough to stand in there and be focused for a match, we welcome anybody to come in and start R2ing. Okay, so those are the flags there. You've read that. And these are, now we'll go through this in detail. That's the in signal with the flag. That's the out signal, straight up in the air. There's the touch signal. You're making a T. There's the ball crossing outside or ball touched an outside object, foot fault on serve, or crossing outside the crossing space, signal 4, as we call it. As a line judge, you're never going to use this signal, right? That's the, I don't know. Okay. Arms crossed like that. This is what a team looks like. We'll go through this. You've got 15 players, maximum, a coach and 2 assistant coaches. And if they have a medical therapist or a medical doctor, then you can have an exceptional extra on the staff. Okay, team leaders are the captain and the coach. They are responsible for the conduct. Team captain comes up at the coin toss, and the coach conducts the play from outside the playing court, and the coach records and checks the names, the numbers of the players on the score sheet and signs it. You need to know that a libero isn't counted in regular substitutions. I think you understand that. And here are some of the different playing formats. These are the important things for you. Everybody understands. At the end of the rally, the referee will signal point. And if you see an arm go like that, that's the side that got the point, and you can record a point. The end of the set is the arms crossed like that. And obviously, I think everyone here is aware you must win by 2. Unless you're in some funny tournament where, like official volleyball BC championships, there is no cap, but you might come to some events where for the sake of time, they say cap at 27, in which case 27, 26 is a win. But you will be told that ahead of time. And first of all, there's a coin toss, and somebody's going to decide serve. People always ask, who's team A? Who's team A? Whoever is on the left of the scorekeeper at the start of the first set is team A. And then who hits first in the warm-up? The team that wins the serve. And if a person does a coin toss, these days, because of the new Volleyball Canada warm-up procedure, you are seeing a lot of teams choose receive, so they get the second warm-up. Obviously, if you get the second warm-up, you are a lot more, you're getting the maximum warm-up right before the match starts. So be aware of that. Somebody wins the coin toss, they choose receive. That means they get the second 5 in a warm-up, or second 3. All right. The starting lineup has 6 players. They'll write the liberos on, and the service order is determined by the lineup sheet, and etc. That's what an authorization for a serve looks like. And this is what an 8-second fault looks like on service. And that is what the referee will do if somebody stepped on the service line when they served. These are just some signals for you. Rotational faults are determined by the starting lineup. That's basically somebody is not in the right rotational order, wrong server. It's like they miss the serve, the other team gets the point. And that's the signal for a fault made during a service, a rotational fault, a little circular motion. Okay. And if the ball does not cross the net after a service hit, the referee will signal by touching the net. And that's the out signal. And the positional fault is usually the R2 will get that. R1 can get that as well. And at the moment of serve, they are not in the right position. The setter leaves early is quite often what might be called. Or somebody completely flipped in the back row and they're not sure where they're supposed to stand. The positional fault is called by the R2, and the R1 will signal that. And the same signal, they give the circular motion. That's what a ball in looks like. And then the ball out, and this is important for a line judge. All parts of the ball contact the floor completely outside the boundary lines. Okay, and you can read through the rest of that. touches an outside object. In club volleyball, I think most levels are allowed, in BC, are allowed to play off the roof. When you go to nationals, you are not allowed to play it off the roof. Volleyball Canada rules indicate you can't play it off the roof. So the playing it off the roof and continuing on is a Volleyball BC rule only. Doing it is kind of a test project, but the rest of Canada hasn't adopted it. So that's just in BC. If it touches an antenna, the ropes, the post outside of the antenna, that is also out. If it crosses the vertical plane of the net, partially or totally outside, and if it completely crosses under the lower space, it's out. That's a signal for out. That's a signal for ball touched. Okay, and those signals, let's say you don't have a flag, that would be your touch signal if you are a line judge and you don't have a flag. And another thing to keep in mind, there might be interruptions, delays, or intervals. And the interruption is the time between one rally and the first referee's whistle. So anytime the ball is down, that's a completed play. Now there's an interruption. And in the middle of those interruptions, you can have regular game interruptions. Those are timeouts and substitutions. So you're allowed 2 timeouts, 60 seconds for Volleyball Canada. And the player substitution, you at 14 and 15 are allowed 12 limited subs per set, 12 limited subs per set. In high school, you're allowed 12 unlimited subs. So, and then now this is new. I thought 16 was still using 12 limited, but according to this here, and I might be correct or incorrect, but it says 16U to 18U, proper volleyball, 6 limited subs per set. Okay. And the sequence of interruptions is that you can request a timeout, a substitution, then a timeout. You cannot have 2 distinct substitutions. If you are doing 2 subs or 3 subs, or let's say you want to do all 6 subs at one time, they have to be all at one time. You can't go, okay, 15 in for 10, and then 30 seconds later after a timeout go, sorry, I want to go 16 for 3. No, you can't do that. They have to be all together. That's what the timeout signal looks like. And if you're in R1, you will point to the bench. R2 point to the bench as well. And that's what a substitution looks like. If you're a basketball person, it's the traveling signal in basketball. So the substitutions, starting lineup player may leave the game only once in a set and re-enter, but only once in a set. Okay. And that's the limited subs. If you are playing unlimited subs, in high school, they do unlimited subs. Then you go in, you go out, and many times. But Volleyball Canada uses the limited sub. And then the unlimited sub model is the player on the starting line may leave and re-enter the game multiple times in a set, and et cetera. Yeah, I was under the impression that was still Volleyball Canada U15 and below, that you could do unlimited subs and libero, but maybe that has changed. Again, you'd figure that I would know all this stuff because of level 4, but they change these rules so often that, I always have to look it up. Every year, something comes up. And the exceptional substitution is maybe there's an illness or an injury. And as a scorekeeper, you just have to be aware that the referee will tell you how to handle this, and you will follow the procedures. An illegal substitution is one where they've exceeded the limitation of the subs, or 3 goes in for 6, 6 goes in for 3, and then the coach later on tries to put 3 in for somebody else, like 10. Can't happen, not allowed, and that's penalized by a point if it's successful. If you have an R2 there that can stop that from happening, then maybe it's just a delay warning instead. But if the sub goes through and it's an illegal sub, then that is a penalized point. Substitution procedure needs to happen in the substitution zone. And there's some hand signals that the scorekeepers need to give on that. And then improper requests are somebody comes up, says sub, oh no, sorry, I don't want to sub, and nobody blew a whistle, then that would just be an improper request, not a delay warning. If the R2 or the coach, it doesn't delay the rally, then that would be an improper request. Again, that's higher level stuff. Don't worry about that. If that happens, the referee will tell you about that. So the game delays, let's say we've got prolonged interruptions and maybe there's an illegal sub, etc., delaying a game by a team member. There are delay sanctions. Somebody takes a long time out. Somebody's really long at getting their lineup card in between sets. Then there are delay sanctions that are given. And the delay sanctions are, the first one is a delay warning, which is a yellow card, no penalty, nothing happens. And then a repeated one, Bobby Vu's favorite, the delay penalty, which is a red sanction. And I remember I had to give a red delay at a high school championship, and the poor team was so used to soccer. Once they saw the red card, they thought I'd ejected the player from the match and that they'd lost the match. And no, it was just that they'd done something in set one, and then in set two they delayed something, so I had to give them a delay red. And it was a point, but it wasn't nobody was being thrown off the court. And so that's the sanction scale there that you can see. Okay, intervals are 3 minutes between sets. And basically, for coaches, you are supposed to hand in your lineup for set 2 immediately at the end of set 1. How many people actually does that? Yeah, jewelry. Yeah, Bobby Vu goes, jewelry is a common delay warning. And yeah, that's for sure. Okay, so
Can I jump in for a sec?
Bobby's going to jump in. Okay, go ahead, Bobby.
One of the things is for newer teams is when a substitution request is being made. So the player just has to cross the 3-meter line, and that tells everybody that a substitution is being requested. So it does help, especially when there's only one ref, that the coach, makes the signal, or the player makes the signal as well and says they want to sub. But the official request is the player just entering the substitution zone or crossing the attack line. So that's something to make sure you tell your coaches, tell the players. Otherwise, if a coach is yelling and requesting a sub, but the players are just sitting on the bench, it's not going to be authorized. And if you had someone that wasn't very nice, might give you a delay.
Yeah, fair enough. That's often there. Hopefully, anybody here that's a coach will understand that it's the players that call the substitutions, not the coach. The coach just stands there and says, "Hey, Joe, get up there," or "Sally, get up there. You're going in," and then they're there. Of course, the interesting thing, Bobby brings that up, but at U14 they're not allowed subs. The interesting thing on that is they have what's called fair play. All right. And that means that you have a set 6, and then in the second set, you have to check and make sure that a different player that has not played in set 1 is now in set 2. All right. So you've read all that in the change of courts. That's the change of court signal. And like I said, I'm going through this quickly. And then that's what a yellow card looks like. And the referee will display the yellow card, and they will say, "This is a warning for unsportsmanlike conduct to the coach because you're not allowed to question ball handling." And so the coach should raise their hand, and then you as a scorekeeper need to record that on the score sheet as a C, and there you go. And then that's what a red card looks like: repeated unsportsmanlike conduct, or somebody drops an F-bomb on the court loud enough that everybody can hear. That is rude conduct or repeated unsportsmanlike conduct. And that is a red card, and that is a point or a penalty. And you need to record that on the score sheet. If you get both of them, that's an expulsion. You probably will not see that. It doesn't happen very often, but if you get an expulsion, the player or the coach is not allowed to participate for the remainder of the set. They sit in the penalty box, and that is the disqualification. Basically, for somebody to get disqualified, you ran under the net and punched the other player. And that is both the red and the yellow card. You are removed from the playing area and not allowed to participate in the rest of the match. Plus, there's a lot of paperwork that the referee will need afterwards, including witnesses and other things, because under safe sport, if anybody gets disqualified, believe me, there will be further sanctions from Volleyball BC or BC High School Sports if you're doing anything in the high school season. All right. Exceptional game interruptions are for injury or illness, and the rally can be replayed, and the player can be substituted. There's recovery time there. For the sake of today, you can understand that these things will happen, and the referee will tell you how to handle it. You can look it up and understand it a little bit more in the rule book. The blood policy is basically if somebody's bleeding, you write it on the score sheet, number 17 on Team A, blood set 2 at 3-3. And basically, they're allowed 1 minute to make it right. And after a minute, they have to be subbed out. The uniform needs to be clean. If the floor is soiled by blood, it needs to be clean. The match is delayed until that is corrected. And if the player is not able to continue, then you're allowed some time to, where am I here? Yeah, that's the end of my slides right there, etc. Okay, so under the blood policy, you can sub a person out through the regular process. Incidentally, the new rule is the concussion protocol, and if a coach or if a referee, again, we're not medical people, but if we look and we go, somebody got hit in the head quite severely, then maybe we're going to be concerned, and we're going to say, just like the blood policy, go to your coach, and we'll just take a minute or so to find out if you know what day it is, and if the coach thinks that the player is okay, then we go with that judgment and the play goes on. Okay, so like the blood rule, somebody gets a ball really hard to the head, referees and coaches, be aware of that. We want everybody to be safe, and that's why Volleyball Canada has implemented the new warm-up policy and as well the concussion protocols in the rule book as well. Okay, that is the preliminary stuff. Now, as you can see, we've been motoring along here. And so I want to, pro tip for coaches and parents, at the start of the day, take off the jewelry and don't put it back on for the rest of the day. Yeah, Bobby, you haven't coached girls volleyball in a while, have you? Yeah, in Volleyball Canada, it's not, just remember, Volleyball Canada rules are no jewelry taped or covered, unlike high school volleyball where they say studs are under advisement. In Volleyball Canada, Volleyball BC, jewelry has to be removed or taped, okay, for safety, etc. All right, score sheet or line judging. I think if we start hammering through the scorekeeping procedure, if you get your blank sheets there, I've got the, for the purposes of this, I've made, and if you printed out the score sheet, I have given you basically the high school 12 sub unlimited score sheet. Volleyball Canada has the 12 sub limited score sheet, and this for everybody is going to be the most important thing. So is everybody ready? Yeah, Bobby just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that coaches can wear jewelry. Thanks, Bobby. And you're allowed to wear baseball hats again. About 4 or 5 years ago, they eliminated baseball hats as a coaching thing, but people are allowed to do that again. Not as line judges, so I don't want anybody as a line judge showing up with a baseball hat. I think, show respect for the players and the athletes that are out there, and just, hats, toques, a hoodie pulled over your head, earphones in the side, that just might indicate that maybe you're not paying as much attention as you should. So we want to do a good job out there and make it a great event for everybody. All right, let's go to the Volleyball Canada score sheet. Now let's see. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. Okay, that should be good. And hang on, why am I there? All righty, bear with me. For anybody watching the video afterwards, we are getting better at learning Zoom, but all right, everybody, this is the important thing. Pay attention to this, and we will all do it. And then the first time you have an opportunity to do the score sheet, relax. We'll be there for you, and you can remember some of the things. Bobby Vu has been really big at, and we'll get him to point out a couple of things that are very important to remember. Scorekeeping should be fairly straightforward. The most important thing, keep the score right. Watch the arm action of the referee, the signals of the referee. All right, there's the Volleyball Canada score sheet presentation. You can see that. And now if I go through the presentation, it's used at all Volleyball Canada events. All right, at all provincial territory, age class, high school, etc. There's a number of different score sheets out there that have been created. So this one on the presentation is different than the one that you have a printout of. The most important thing is whatever modified score sheet you are presented with, there are some basic things to all of them that will be important to do that. It should be recorded in blue ink. That's the preference. If you got black ink, don't panic. It'll be fine. But blue ink contrasts with the printed black ink so that we can tell the difference. And it should be recorded in block lettering. You notice that there should and must. Should be in block lettering. And if you are an advanced scorekeeper, bring a small little straight edge with you, a little ruler. Then you can use that for making straight lines at the end of the match. Particularly if you're doing higher level matches, the straight edge is important. I get it. You're doing a club game and you just kind of jump in there. Don't panic. It'll be fine. So at the start, you're going to get in there and fill out as much information as you can. You'll get rosters, or in the case of volleyball BC events, you'll get stickers. Thankfully, stickers. If you are part of a club and you do not have the sticker template, what I will do is I made up a fillable PDF. There's a sticker template available on the Volleyball BC website for rosters. I found it quite difficult to use. So during the high school season, me and a few other coaches decided that we would rework it. And so I have a fillable PDF that works with Acrobat. And all you do is you take a Word document, have your roster in it, copy and paste, and boom, there you go. You get your nice little set of stickers printed out on the Avery label. And do not scale it. If you're using, that's the trick, is do not scale it, print it at 100%. And then you get these nice, neat labels that whenever you show up at the event, you can put the the label on. Now, hey, here's an interesting thing. What is the fine for not showing up with labels at a Volleyball BC event? Last year, it was $50 per score sheet. I think this year it might have gone up a bit. Now, relax, coaches. If you haven't shown up with score sheets, we don't generally, we're not in the business of finding people, although Bobby, Nancy, and I, we could always use an extra hamburger or a milkshake after the game. So if you want to give us a fine, we'll be happy to take care of that. But show up with the labels, and then we don't ever have to worry about it. This is a Volleyball Canada score sheet. As you can see, the full score sheet there, 5 sets. You can take a look at the various areas around it. There's the sets and you see how it's all there. So the match details, obviously you're going to fill that in. We won't spend a lot of time on that. You'll put the city, you can figure out the gym, if it's under 14 or what's the date, and then what are the team names, code names, or use your best to figure something out and fill it in. And then once the coin is tossed, you'll know who is A and who is B. And Volleyball BC events, whoever's on what side, there you go. Somebody was saying they cannot see the screen sharing right now. It looks good on my screen.
Mark,
Anybody
it's
else?
fine. That was before the sharing was up. It's fine. That's an old comment.
Oh, that's an old message from way before. Okay. Okay, got it. All right, completed match details and the team roster. As I said, for you guys, you're going to get a sticker, but you know that you'll have 15 players on there. You don't need to worry about designated liberos because that's not a thing at club level. You can switch the libero. Most important thing is have the 15 players listed, and then and the coaches will be there. The other thing that happens at age classes that you have the what do you call it? The NCCP number needs to be in there as well. So if there are liberos, there you go. And notice that on the Volleyball Canada, there is a place for the coach's certification. That should be on the label, so you don't have to worry about that. The captains, after the toss, get them to circle their numbers. And then when the referee comes over, just to double check, because they're wearing warm-up jerseys, what are the numbers of the captains? You can tell them. And then you notice at the bottom that they are nice and neatly signed by everybody. Okay, so that's the teams there, A and B, and that's the rosters. The other thing that is really valuable as a referee assistant is to record the referee. First name, last name, first name, last name. Write your name in. If you have an assistant scorer, put that in. And then at the end, they can come by and sign. All right, now the recording of the score sheet. Prior to the match, you can put a few different things on there. That's the A and the B. Now I will also, let me just see here because I'm sharing that. Let me go like this. That's what your score sheet looks like, right? So I've got that as your little sample there. So you see down in the bottom, you've got a little roster. Now, if you printed out the completed score sheet, then you're going to down here, you're going to be able to print in some numbers in here. So like this, you can put a team name in here. Hang on, let me just get here. Draw. There we go. So you get a number, yeah, sort of down here, the numbers, that's terrible. That might be a 10. Okay. That might be an 8. Okay. So you get this lineup in here. That's going to be a 3. That's going to be a 16. Okay. There's a 2. And there's a 12 in there. All right. Coaches sign it. and then a libero number 5. All right. So you can see that and put a team name down. You can put VVA if you want, or Camosun as I did on the other one. All right. And then the set is going to be circled. All right. And then across the top into, this is the modified 12 sub score sheet. And then you would write the numbers in. So in this box right here, you would put the 8. In this box right here, you would put the number 10. And because my writing on screen is not that good, that would be a number 3. That would be a number 16 in that spot. You'd write a number 2 right there and a number 12 right there. We've decided that the team over here, and if that's VVA, okay, has won the serve. So we need to make a nice, neat X through the S. Okay, and that means this team over here has a receive. So we need to put a nice receive through there and put whatever team there. I think Parksville deserves credit. So we'll put PVC here. All right. And then just for the sake of numbers, in the position 1 here, we'll put a 5. In position 2 right here, mark in 11 in that spot right there. And then in this spot here, write in a 17. In this spot here, write in a number 1. In this spot here, write in a, sorry, that's in position 5, write in a 12. In this spot here, write in a 3. Okay. The starting time, 6 p.m. or 1800. So you write in the starting time, 1800, right up here. Okay. And again, whatever score sheet you're using will be similar to this, might be slightly different positions. And definitely writing on the screen is a little difficult for me. Now, since VVA has the serve, we know that PVC doesn't. So you're going to write an X into this spot right here. Okay, so everybody do that. Write an X into that spot right there. Okay. So who is the first server of the game? That is, and again, we'll go through this. That's anybody going to type that in? Let's see who can type in. Who's the first server? In the comment section, somebody type it in. Anybody? No? Number 8 is the first server. Number 8 is the first server. And so that is in this area below the number 1, that's the service order. And right there, we put a little tick mark there. And number 8 is serving. Okay, and again, that is number 8 there. I didn't write that in, but you would get that from the line below. Now, as people score points, and again, I'm trying to do this as neatly as I can, we draw nice straight lines if we can. And so I make a check mark like that. And that's a point awarded. And they get a second point awarded. And they get a third point awarded. All right. And then what we do is we get a, oops, I didn't type that in very well. So they got a 3. Okay. So then at that point, we come over to the Parksville side and they've rotated 1. So the first server is going to be this person here. Can anybody remember what number that is? If you wrote it in correctly, that was number 11. I didn't write that in because of my messy writing, but there's number 11. and they've scored a point. Okay. And they missed their serve, and so we write in a 1 there. VVA scores a point. That's number 4. Now we come over here, and the assistant scorekeeper tells us that number 10 is going back to serve. That's number 10. Okay. I guess I have time to write that in now. I'll try and do that. Number 10. And they missed their serve. So that's a 4 in there, very messily written. PVC scores a point. And we look on our score sheet, and I didn't write it in, but number 17 is going back to serve. And you confirm that with the assistant scorekeeper. And so you see the number 1, you just put a little tick there. Slash off the point in the column before the check mark for the next server. Technically, the serve. Yeah, okay. That's fair enough, Bobby. So now we've confirmed that the correct server is serving, and they score an extra point to make it 3, and then miss the serve, and we get a 3 in that spot there. Number 5 scores a point. Like I say, get a rhythm here. And we know that the next server, if you wrote this in, is number 3 here. Okay, we've confirmed that that's the correct server. And they serve. And they get on a roll here. Number 6 points. Number 7 points. And then somebody's trying to annotate my sheet. Okay, Josie, stop that. And then, so now we're at 7 points here, and PVC says, okay, we better call a timeout. Oh, I didn't write down the liberos, but on different sheets, there might be a libero spot. So the libero on this team was 5, and we'll say that the libero on this side here was 18. Okay, if there's no libero spot, then in the comments section, you just do your best and write down set 1 libero, team A libero and team B libero, and you write it down so that keep track of it. Okay, so now PVC is calling a timeout, and the score at this point is 3 for PVC. See in the T section, and 7 for VVA. All right, they score 1 more point, making it number 8. And then that's it. All done. Terrible writing. 8's tough. That looks like a B. PVC scores a point, making it 4. And at this point, that is number 1 is in this spot right here. But what we're doing is we're making a substitution. And number 6 is coming in. You check on the roster to make sure number 6 is registered. Then number 6 comes in and you write it beside it. And then you write in the score is 4-8 at this point, I believe. And I'm trying to do this for you here on the screen. Wow, that is tough. Try and use a mouse pad. Okay. So it's number 6 actually serving now, and we verified that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you don't record the time of the timeout, the score of the timeout. Thank you, Bobby, for answering questions in the chat room. Appreciate having you and Nancy here. That's helpful. Okay, so now number 6 is actually serving because they got subbed in. And the Camosun match, we had a funny one where the scorekeeper put the sub in the wrong column, and I was the R1, Bobby was the R2, and the scorekeeper actually buzzed, and it was kind of funny. I'm wondering, well, why was there a buzz on that? But then I found out afterwards that the scorekeeper thought that the wrong server was back there, but actually number 6 is serving, and they don't get any points. So that's a 4 in there. Okay. VVA gets a point. And then we come over here. And I said this was number 16 here. And they don't, and we verified number 16 serves. And then that's a 9 at the end of serve. And then we come over here. PVC scores a point. And if you had followed my direction, that should be a 12 in there. I didn't write that in earlier. Sorry for my mess. I probably should have written that in. We're going along here. And this is the 5th point, and that's it. They get number 5 right there. Okay, now we come over. VVA scores a point. Again, very straightforward. You're just checking off the points and verifying that the correct people are in there. This is number 2 here. Verify the server. Okay, and they get an extra point. Finally, somebody made a serve, and then they missed the serve. Great play, and that's 11 there. So now we come over here, and number 3. That's number 3 there. They scored a point, making it 6. And we verify that number 3 is serving. They get another point, making it 7. And then that's a 7 right here. Okay, now we are rotating over. And this is number 12. Terrible handwriting. Number 12. I'm a little better than this when I do it when I actually do the score sheet, although Bobby doesn't like my handwriting, but that's okay, Bobby. Verify that they are serving, and it goes out of bounds. Or we'll say it was a great rally in PVC. I should do this like a play-by-play commentary. All right, we're rotating around. That's number 8th point. And we have number 5 now getting to serve for the first time. Yeah, and as Bobby reiterated, it's helpful if the person flipping the cards is calling out the score and who is serving. We verified the number 5. Notice now that we're into 2. Some people go, well, what is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And that's the service order. So we go down in the column the first time, the second time the person in that column or the substitute in that column serves, then now we're on to the second time. But of course, as everybody knows, they didn't serve the first time around. Okay, and they get another point. And then that is, I forgot something. We'll back up. That number 1 came back in for number 6, and the score was 8-12. I think, is that right? 8-12. Okay. All right, and then they end the serve, and that's a 9. All right, let's motor along here now. We rotate around. That's the 13th point. Check it off. And we get the 13th point right there. 1, 3. Okay, come over here. 10th point here. Verified that number 11 is serving. And they get a few here. To make it 12. Okay. VVA is getting a little nervous. They call a timeout. And you write their score in first. It's 13 for VVA because they called the timeout. And that should be a 12 there. All right. It worked. they miss a serve, and that's a 12. All right. Rotate over, 14th point for VVA. And we verified number 10 is serving. And that's a 14. All right. 13th point here. And we get a check mark here because number 17 is serving. And 13. Point here, making it 15 for VVA. Number 3 is serving. We make a little check mark there. And they get on a good run here, getting up to 18. Nice straight lines, 18. All right. That's it. PVC calls a timeout. We'll make that 13. And 18 right here. All right. And that's the second timeout. They can't call any more timeouts. And it was successful. That's it. 18 points right there. Coming into the home stretch here. All right. It's the 14th point here. And they're going to make a sub. Now, again, in limited subs, that's it. 1 goes in for 6, 6 goes in for 1. That's it. And in a limited sub, you would circle the number 6 at that point. Okay, but we're not doing unlimited subs, so we will uncircle that. And we will put a sub in there pretending we're doing high school. Okay, maybe we're doing high school. And so at this point here, I can't even write it in here properly, but it should be 14 and 18. Okay. Terrible writing, I know. Okay, but anyway, they go in, they get another point, making it 15. And I've already checked off that because I verified that the correct server is in there, and that's 15. All right, rotate over here, 19 points. And verify that 16 is serving. But at this point, they're going to put in a sub. So they're going to put in number 1 as a sub, and the score is 19-15. Okay. And that's it, 19 points. Moving over here, that's a point. Check that off. Verify that number 12 is serving. Make a little smudge mark there. Again, officially a check mark, but do your best. Smudge the dot, whatever it is. Just remember it has to be an ink, not pencil. So no pencils, blue ink. We recommend if you're a scorekeeper, have your own ballpoint blue ink pen that you like, and that will be helpful. So we have now a rotate and a point, and it'll be number 2 serving. Number 2 is serving, and that's it. They get 20. Come over here. That's a point for PVC. Number 3 is serving. And again, like I say, you're getting into a role here. Your assistant scorekeeper is telling you what's going on. Pretty simple. And VVA makes a good pass, set to the outside, hit just off the blocker's hands, touched out. There's 17 points. Rotating around number 21 point. Number 12 is serving. Verify that. And we have 21 points there. 18 points now for Parksville. Number 5 gets the serve, and you notice we go to the 3, same column, the 3. And so now they get 1 point, making it 18. Or they didn't score any points. It's 18. Not a lot going on. Side out is definitely working. Okay, 22 points here. We'll finish this off here. They get another point, making it 23. Oh, sorry. Before that, there was a number 1 is going back in for 16, and that's 22-18. Ooh, that's not very good. 22-18 right there. All right. And then they did score the 23rd point after that sub. And then Parksville sided out or got the ball back, making it 19 points here. They score another point, making it 20. We've already verified, of course, that number 11 was serving, putting the tick mark in there. And then they score to 20. That's a point, game point for VVA. And let's not prolong this. That's 25 there and 25. All right. This is the fun part, is at the end, you need to circle the final numbers. Okay. And that's the final score. So we're going to circle the 25 there, and we're going to circle the 20 there. See that? And then we are going to, with our best writing, oh, that's neat. We got a straight line here. That's helpful. We're going to make a straight line under the 25. And then we make our lines like that. These are what we call hourglasses. And this is where a straight edge is very helpful. There you go. Look how good my straight edge is. See, my straight edge is very nice here. And you put a line across at the top like that. Nice line across at the bottom like that. And then over here, right below the 20, nice and dark. Okay. And then you make your hourglasses in here. You want to think of this like a checkbook. That way, nobody can come in and alter the score afterwards. And there's our hourglasses like that. And then we draw a straight line there. And then we draw a straight line there all the way across. And that's kind of what your sheets look like there. Okay, while I open up the other sheet, Bobby or Nancy, do you want to add anything in while I just get up the completed sheet? Are they there?
You just put in the end time. So look down at your watch, whatever it is. And then if it's the first set or there's another set, then we always add 3 minutes to the end of the previous set, regardless of how long it might take. Yeah. The other thing, you didn't. So the scorekeepers, especially when there's only one ref, it's nice to share the information regarding the number of timeouts taken. So often you'll have 1 and 0, or like 2 and 1. So that keeps us informed that if there's been 2 timeouts taken, that team can't request any more subsequent timeouts. So they've exhausted their limit for that set.
Bobby, show the signal for already.
Yeah, that's another helpful thing. So many of you, if you've been in tournaments, every minute counts. So when here, I'll duck it down a little bit. So if you want to be nice and high, palms away, both hands up, that tells us that you're ready to go and blow the whistle.
Everybody can see Bobby. So this is, we're ready to go. I've seen the numbers. Quick sub. I often tell the assistant scorekeeper, you put the hands up and then I can authorize the sub. And then I know that the scorekeeper and you are going to write down the correct numbers. What's this signal right here? Two thumbs way up. No, that's reserve. So that's well done. That's reserve. This is, we're all ready. And that's the international symbol. Wherever you go, FIVB, the sub is done. We are ready. Okay, I'm just going to share the screen again and I'll show you what the completed score sheet looks like. So this is a nice, neat, completed score sheet that you had. As you can see, we have the number of subs there, and as Bobby pointed out, the end time, as he noted, is the end time is over here, right? So you see that right there is 18:21. Okay, and everything is correctly written in, and then you can see the way the lineup cards are there. Now, if I go to the, hang on that one, let's not annotate. Let's go to, no. Sorry. I'm trying to go to the next page. There we go. Now, in a third set, people, we won't, just for the sake of time, go through an entire third set. But in a third set, you notice that they start up on one side. And so what you would actually do is, for the first part of the match, you're only worried about the left side for the first part. Okay. And then when they change sides after 8 points, and I did Douglas and Camosun, you guys can use PVC and VVA or Momentum and Port Hardy. Whatever you decide on your sheet is up to you. But at 8 points, then we change sides, and all we worry about is the left side. So everything on the Team B side is, you will point out the points at the side change, and the Team B, the exact same lineup is in, right? The exact same lineup as before. And then the first thing that you write in for Team B on the side change is going to be here. That's the first thing you'll write in, is that those points there, the 9th point there. So all the rest of the stuff in here, you're not actually writing anything in. That was on the other side. Okay. And then, as I said, and you don't write anything on the left side after they change sides. So then, as we said, the referees come in and they sign, and the captain or the coaches sign on this score sheet. There's no place for an assistant scorekeeper. Maybe those are line judges or whatever. But you write down the points, and this is an important section where, as I said, the most important area is the most important area is this area right here. Okay, that's the most important area. We want to know the scores, the correct duration. And again, in club volleyball, quite often we don't worry about it as much. We want to make sure that everything is totaled. We want to make sure that everything is totaled. And if it's in a nice, neat package like this, then somebody can just take a photo of that with their camera, just that little box, and send that in, and then the scores can get recorded or updated to a website very quickly. So before the referees come over to sign, make sure that's done, and then everything is all good there. And you want to make sure the winner is filled in before the coaches come and sign, as the winner, like I said, is pointed out as the most important thing. Who won it? 2-1. And then the coaches, when they come over and sign, they can know that you've got the correct winner in there. I'll just point out a couple of things about sanctions on here. This is where the sanctions go. So the first one you see is the D. That's a D for a delay. And then the next one you see is the C for the coach. And that's a personal warning, a yellow card. If we went to a penalty, that would be into the P section right here. The P section is where the penalty goes. That's a red card. And then again, like everything, team A or B. So you're writing down team A or B, the set, and the score, the delay warning in set 2, 0-0, etc. Oh yeah, okay. So let me just click on that. That's a good point. Thank you for all of that. Going across here, T. What do you think T is, everybody? Make a guess. You're right. Timeout. What is the S? The S stands for substitutions. What is a W? That's who won the game. And you put a 1 in there or a 0. Obviously, the points are the points. Okay. And then total everything up. And that's a completed score sheet. You all hopefully learned something. And if you have the sample score sheet, keep that with you. You take that with you, because that will remind you if you get stuck. And the best advice I give to anybody, scorekeeping is easy, but you need to be focused and get into a rhythm. And if you're working together, 2 scorekeepers on the score sheet, you'll get it done. It's very straightforward. And do not beat yourself up if you make a mistake. I have score kept at high level. I've made mistakes on the score sheet. Just fix it. Whiteout is good. And you will get over it. We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But we do appreciate people making the effort to help out in the score sheets. All right, let's, I guess I'll unshare the screen. I might have missed it. Does the scorekeeper let the ref know if there's been an illegal rotation? Yes. If the wrong server goes back, then the scorekeeper, once they serve, we've got to catch them. We got to catch them. We can't have that happen. And you would wave your hand. In college, you buzz. You hit the buzzer. But wave your hand after they serve. Wrong server, whatever. If you know if there's an R2, then you say, let's say Bobby's the R2 or I'm the R2. Bobby, wrong server. And he'll look at you and say, are you sure? Blow his whistle, and then we'll sort it out. Okay. If you make a mistake or you need a little extra time, the hand signal is 1 hand up means stop. 2 hands up means we're ready to go. 1 hand up, wait, little wave, 1 hand. 2 hands means keep going. Frantic waving like this usually means wrong server. Probably just a 1 hand wave is fine. Oh, Nancy is back. Nancy's back. Welcome back, Nancy. All right, on to line judging. How are we doing? Everybody good? Yes, in U14s, you need to make sure everybody has played. So in a U14, you need to go through the score sheet and the lineup card, and you actually on the score sheet would check off the players that have played, and then in set 2, anybody that hasn't played has to have a check mark beside it. All right. Let me go to the PowerPoint presentations here. Linejudge presentation. Okay.
Mark, Nancy here. I'd love to jump in for a sec. I'm sorry I
Well, I'm
lost
getting
you.
this set up. Go for it, Nancy.
I was gone for a couple minutes, but due to technical difficulties, but something I wanted to say about the score sheet right before I left. Hopefully it hasn't already been
Okay.
covered and I'm not wasting anybody's time. The deciding set in a match, whether it's the 3rd or 5th set, when the scorekeeper receives the lineup, please record the left-hand team's, the team that's starting set, the final set on the score
sides.
table's left. Record it on both positions at that time before the set starts. You do not have time during the side change to copy the lineup over. Just do it at the beginning twice on the left-hand side and the right-hand end that you're going to ignore at the beginning, the first
Right.
portion of the set.
Exactly.
That was it. Thank you.
Yeah, when you were out, we showed them that, but that's a very good point to reinforce. The next question was 15U, 16U. Fair play doesn't come in, so we don't care who starts set 1, set 2. It's just U14 and below has fair play, where everybody must play, and you must check off on the roster a dot or a little check mark to indicate that the person has played, and then in set 2 you verify that as well. Okay, we're under the gun here. I'm going to go through only if fair play is in place, so that's only at U14 where they are doing that. Okay, I'm going to go through the Linejudge presentation really quickly because it's got a couple of videos, and this is a high technical one for Bobby, Nancy, and myself for doing national championships. So I'm going to rock it through and point out a few things here, and then hopefully you will be good at this. It's very important to know the rules of the game. And here's your responsibilities. You've got in, out, foot fault on serve, as I said. Here are the signals. Ball in. All right, and let's see how this works here. It's a little small, but I've got a little video here, and watch this. Boom, in. That's a lot better than me. All right. Then ball out. And let's show you the signal. There he goes. Nice low position, straight up in the air. All right. I'm going to show that again because straight up in the air, pointing straight up in the air. Hopefully you can see that. We'll get, I borrowed Bobby's flags, so I'll get a chance to do that. That's what the ball touch looks like. Let's take a look here from the FIVB site. Here we go. Notice the low position, watching and observing, and it touches off a player and goes out of bounds. All right. The ball crosses outside. Hang on. Ball crossing outside the aerial, or hits an object outside, the famous signal 4. Here's what it looks like. There we go. Point 1, 2, 3. Got that? Let's show you again. You point at the antenna or the line on foot fault. Point 1, 2, 3. There's the FIVB official Linejudge signal, and that's the way it's supposed to be done. The difference on a foot fault on serve is you would point to the line on the serve. All right. Impossible to judge. You'll never have to do that because you're going to be good. But if you can't see, you don't know, then this is a signal. You go like that. All right. And if you do that signal, maybe you need to fall on the ground. Nancy never falls on the ground though, and you should see her when she does line judging at the college level. She stands her ground like a pro. All right. When two line judges are there, you're going to stand in the corners, 1 meter or so away from the diagonal. And if there's 4 line judges, then you will get your positioning. So that's a little volleyball court there. And you can see that you've got 2 lines responsibility. So if I'm a line judge right here, say I'm that line judge right there, I'm responsible for this whole line here, and I'm responsible for this whole line all the way down to the end. Okay. And if there's 4 line judges, then you will be in a different position just to watch the 1 line. So let's just hang on. Let me go back here. Okay, there's your 4 line judge positions there where you are standing as the 4 line judge. Okay, in college volleyball, not so much important. You've got to prepare yourself before the match. The thing is if you've been volunteered to be a line judge, report to the score table, introduce yourself to the referee, be polite, ask them if there's anything particular that you would like them to do. You need to be in the best level of concentration possible. You need to be in good conditioning. Stretch. I always stretch before I go. I'm getting old now, but if I'm doing a college match on line judging, I need to make sure I'm ready so that I can get that. They always talk about professionalism. We are a team. Scorekeepers, line judges, referees, and believe me, line judges really, really help us out. And let's face it, maybe there's only 1 or 2 calls that I really need a line judge on, but then I need you. And if you are on the game, then that's very helpful. Okay, so before the match, maybe there's some instructions that the referee is going to give you. And it doesn't matter whether I'm like, let's say I'm a level 4. And I've line judged all over the place, and it doesn't matter who what level you are, how good you are. The referee will give you some instructions. They're in charge of the match, and just go there and listen and pick up something and at the referee's meeting. Okay, so the line judges need to study and understand the protocols ahead of time. That's what we're doing right now. And so during the match, and again, I'm going through these quickly, there's the playing actions, there's the interval between the rallies and the interruptions. So you've got a rest position, you've got the position of attention, and then you've got the flag signal execution. And that's an important thing to understand that. When you're resting, you rest. When you're ready for attention, you get into a low position and anticipate where the ball is going to go, and then you execute with the flag. Okay, so the position of rest, maybe you're standing upright, position of attention, athletic position. That's why when you are a line judge, you must wear running shoes, no open-toed sandals or flip-flops, no baseball hat. Obviously, if your baseball hat accidentally falls off in the middle of the play, that could be unsafe. You need to be ready to move in an appropriate position, bending at the knees. Okay, and then the flag execution, you're standing straight, Statue of Liberty straight up in the air, or flag to the center of the court, or the touch signal, or pointing to the antenna or end line and waving the flag as we showed you. All right, so the corner position prior to the referee's whistle, etc. Okay. The one thing that we will say is that if you are familiar with the teams and if you've been watching, you can learn things like the server has served 2 balls out the end line. Maybe we're going to pay a little more attention to the end line. Maybe this server is getting closer to the line on and making a foot fault. Maybe we're going to pay a little more attention to the foot fault. If you can gain some information by watching the game, that will help you be better prepared when it's time to execute the positioning. Okay, preparation is critical to the role of the line judge. You're going to review the responsibilities and the techniques, and you got the little videos that are there. Okay, and like I said, I'm going to go through this kind of quickly, and this is technical for us, Bobby and Nancy. This is for who's going to be responsible. As you see closer to the line, different people are going to be responsible for the different flags. And here's one that is important to understand. As a referee, sometimes we see things differently than you as line judges. What it's important to remember is we're part of a team and we appreciate you being out there. At the same time, you have to appreciate that the referee is in charge of the match. And from time to time, no disrespect to you and your eyesight or your effort, you might be overruled. And that's a hard one to stomach. I've been overruled. Bobby has been overruled, and we were line judging at national championships. And it doesn't matter. I knew, Bobby and I knew that each of our calls, we were going, ooh, you're overruling me, but I'm pretty sure that ball is the way I called it. And the referee makes their judgment and they overrule you. And like I said, it hurts. I didn't like it, but I'm part of a team and I want to make sure my referee is respected. And so I will take one for the team and go, sorry, my bad, you've overruled me. And so we need to make the signals, and we do not emphasize our signal again. You know, you call it in, the referee goes, no, I'm going to call it out. Then don't emphasize and embarrass the referee by signaling it in. Just be polite. The referee overrules you. They might call you up there, you know, and look, referees are human. Maybe you're right and the referee's wrong, but the referee ultimately is in charge. And if you are a line judge, then just remember that being overruled is not the end of the world. And stay in the game. Don't tune out. Don't get upset. Don't dwell on what you got overruled on. Just be ready, because down the road, the referee is going to need you on another call, and you're going to make that call. It's going to be important. The line judge signal 4 again was one there, and that's the signal ball out, and then the signal 4. That's the difference between the signals. Okay, now, when is the ball out? The ball is out. All parts of the ball are contacted with the floor, completely outside the boundary line. In other words, you see daylight between the line and the ball, and it hasn't touched a player, it's out. And if it touches an object outside the court, then the ball is out of play. If it touches something outside of the court, maybe the coach, then it's out. If it touches the antenna, the ropes, the posts, the net outside, then that also is out. And if it crosses the vertical plane or over top of the antenna outside, then that's out, and it completes that. Those are the ball out. Okay. So it doesn't touch anybody in the playing area and it goes out, it's out. Okay. All parts of the body, ball contact the floor outside the boundary line. Why are they repeating that? We just said that. Okay, expanding the knowledge. Okay, that's all the ball out. Here you go. You're now a line judge, and you can see the ball in black X's. Those are out. So it has to legally cross between the playing space to be in. All right. And again, they're repeating everything. Okay, we get it. Ball out. Whoever did this presentation, I need to make some edit on these slides because they are repeating the information a few times here, too many. All right, so here's some directional attacks that are in or out. Notice if it touches the line, it's in. Touches the line is in. Completely out is out. All right. And then there's a Volleyball Canada rule book. I'll stop sharing it, but they wanted to expand on that. Now I am going to switch my video camera to there. And then I'm going to move over here. Can everybody see me? Thank you, Bobby Vu, for loading me these. I never have my own set of flags because I always hope the hosts will hold them. All right, so here we go. We're all ready. I'm at my position of rest here, and I'm getting in position and I'm looking. And hang on, let me just get this out of the way here. I'll try not to break your flag, Bobby. Okay, but I'm down low. I'm anticipating what's going to happen. And then the ball is in. Okay, ball is in. Center of the court. Look at the referee. Make a nod, and it's in. Put your flag away. All right, next one. We're down low. And then, yeah, okay, I'm going to hit the roof there, but you get the idea. It's straight up in the air, and the ball is out. Completely out, did not touch anybody. One thing that I've found in talking to people, if the ball is in, it's always in. I've had this concern sometime, but it touched a player. If it's in, it's always in. If it's out and it didn't touch anybody and it's completely out, it's out. Now for the touches, the ball is there and it touches off a player's fingertips, the blocker's hands, or the one that I see in age class volleyball, player running to save the ball and it brushes off their hand, and the referee might be screened, brushes off their hand and goes out of bounds. Those are touch. Obviously, if it's in, it's in, but it's touched and it's out. That's like this. So I'm ready, and then it's touch. And look at the referee. Give them your touch. Hold that touch until the referee has seen it and acknowledges it. Okay, that's the touch. The signal 4, as we said, you're down low. There it goes. It hits the antenna. Point to the antenna. 1, 2, 3. Oh, hang on. 1, 2, 3. Okay, like that. I did it the wrong way, but 1, 2, 3. As the FIVB video said, we've been told different things, Bobby, Nancy, and I, by different referees. If the referee tells you to do something different, then you do that. The only thing we don't want to see is the helicopter. The helicopter. I know you're excited because you finally got the antenna, but it's point to the antenna and it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, like that. There you go. All right, and I probably did that wrong, but that's fine. You take a look at the FIVB video and practice it. And as we said, you get knocked out of the way and you cannot determine whether it's in or out. There's a pile up in front of you and you don't know, and you're not in a good, get in a good position to see it. Move around so that you can get in a better position to see that ball. And then when it lands, you're going to be able to say it's in. You're going to be able to say it's out. You're going to be able to say it's touched. But if you cannot make a decision, this is a signal like that. All right. So those are the positioning that you get there. And then again, remember the foot fault on serve. Now, the ready position is this team to your right is serving. The first thing you do is I've got my left foot ahead. Some people say put your right foot ahead, but I've done the biomechanics on this, and you've got your left foot ahead. I'm ready. I'm watching for the foot fault on the serve. The sideline is to my left. So notice the way I'm looking here. This is the end line here. And now I've got to be aware of the sideline. I'm watching for the foot fault on the serve. And then when it happens, I then step with my right foot. So now I'm on the diagonal and I'm ready to look down that line. Notice that I'm moving around. See that? I'm watching this line here, and then I'm moving, and I can see that line there, and then there it is out. There it is out. There it is in. and I'm moving. There it is, touched. And then at the end of the game, thank you very much to the referees. Here's the flag. Okay. Bobby and Nancy, feel free to jump in on line judging, anything that you want to add as a feedback.
There's a question about if there's no flags. So if you want to show the signals without the flag.
Fair enough. No flags. That's because I'm refereeing and I don't bring flags. In volleyball, BC didn't provide them. And Bobby's not in the gym, keener that he is. Ball is in, 2 hands, center of the court, in. Ball is out, 90 degrees, high enough so that the referee can see it. Okay, usually head height or above. And again, look at the referee, ball is out. Ball is touched. There's nothing official on this, about like touch like this. I've often said, keep it about head height like this, touch like that. Okay, but if you want to kind of do a touch like this, like there's a flag there, then you look and you go touch, point to the referee. And then finally, the easy one is signal 4 because it's very similar. You're going to point to the antenna and 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And maybe on that one, you wave it a couple of extra times because you don't have a flag. Okay, pointing at the antenna. Foot fault on serve, hand in the air, looking at the referee, pointing at the end line, and then I don't know. Those would be the signals without the flags. Looking at our time, we are right on the 2-hour mark. And that is end of session. Are there any other questions? Foot fault on serve. Any part of the foot. Yeah, 1 millimeter across the line, and that is a foot fault. You touch the line, that's a foot fault on serve. And coin toss will inform the captains and maybe also inform the coaches. Nancy, what was that all about? What did I miss?
That was a question about stepping in, depending on the space of the gym being adequate. Somebody asked whose
Gotcha.
decision that is. And I said the first referee, or ideally the tournament knows and every ref for the tournament gets told.
Here's what happens on that one is before the first whistle blows, the referee of the day, whoever that is, usually if I'm in the gym, I'll work with the tournament organizer and we will determine what the best option is. If you are playing tournaments at Spectrum, I know that's an issue in one gym. There is no step in the other gym. We generally say as long as a foot is behind the line, they will define that and the teams will be agreeable to that. And whatever rules they make for modification, that's the way they work on it. Okay. Any other questions at all?
Can I ask a question?
Certainly. Go ahead.
So you can hear me? We had an instance last year at Nationals as we were scorekeeping, and one of the teams lost their serve due to a rotational fault. So we notified the ref and the serve went to the other team. And then when the serve came back to our team, I didn't know how to scorekeep from then on because the original player that was supposed to serve